Thank you for joining us at Hartland today. We're so happy to have you. While you're here, please stop by our Donors Relation booth. We'd love to meet you. You can stay connected with us all year long by visiting our website, hartland.edu. You can also connect with us through our Facebook page, YouTube, and Instagram accounts. I'd like to invite you to silence your phone and to move towards the center of the aisle to allow room for the people standing still at the back. The meeting is about to begin, so prepare your heart for the blessing.
She's a health instructor and the former health department chair here at Hartland College. She's the wife of Pastor David Hernandez, and they have been in ministry together for many, many years. And you're going to be learning some very important things. We're going to be talking about a topic that's on many people's mind, and things that you can apply, things that are available to us so that we can have a strong immune system and be prepared to deal with some of the crises that are taking place now at this time. So without further ado, Mrs. Doris Hernandez will come and share the health talk with us.
Good afternoon, people. Hello. I am glad to see the same faces this afternoon, and I hope that we can continue on a very important topic of health. And we're going to talk about, well, as you see, can we avoid COVID-19? And there is another question in there. Is our immune system capable of fighting COVID-19? Okay, so you see how many questions are in there? How many questions? There are two questions. Okay, remember, sometimes I make questions that you know the answer, but answer because I want to see that you are awake. Okay, okay, so there are two questions, okay? Can we avoid COVID-19? Well, we can lower the risk, okay? We can lower the risk greatly. Can we avoid it? Well, it depends on how what is our risk. So we can lower the risk. And is our immune system capable of fighting this disease? Maybe. Maybe your immune system can do it. Maybe your immune system cannot do it. Maybe we can fight it. Maybe we cannot fight it. It depends on many factors. It's not just nutrition. It's not just genes. Remember, genes? Let's give you a quiz test. Okay? A little question. What percentage the genetics can have to influence our risk of cancer? 5%, 5 to 10%. It's more in the lower number, 5%. So the genes are not that powerful. Yes, they are, if we do things that will make the genes manifest. But if we do things that will slow down or stop the manifestation of the genes, then we will not see the cancer. So that is it. Okay, you got an A. Maybe it depends on many factors. That is about COVID. What is immunity? First, let's quickly talk about what is immunity. It says the defense mechanism of the body that works to maintain a state of homeostasis. So that is what immunity is the system in our body that protects us and maintains homeostasis, a state of equilibrium so that we don't get sick, okay? The cells of the immune system, which are many, are different white blood cells. So the cells of the immune system must be able to distinguish self from what? What does it say in there? Self from non-self. Okay, things that do not belong to our body or that the cells cannot recognize. What is this? And so they see that as a threat to our health, a threat to the body, a threat to equilibrium, and they attack it. Okay? So the cells of the immune system must be able to distinguish self from non-self. If they can't, then we are in trouble. Okay? If the immune system, removes microorganisms or non-cells molecules that enter the body. Okay? It also removes abnormal endogenous material. What is endogenous? Anything that is produced inside of the body. Endogenous material, let's say that we have cancerous cells. That would be endogenous. It's made from the inside. Or a cell that is damaged. Okay, that would be endogenous material. So it also removes abnormal endogenous materials, waste products, and diseased cells. Our health is maintained by the appropriate function of the immune system. So if my immune system and your immune system, if they are working at optimal capacity, then we have more chances to fight or avoid COVID-19. So what can we do to have that immune system strong enough to fight this awful disease that is killing so many people around the world? Okay, but there are two other points that I want to read before we go into the answer to that. When the immune system is weak, the body becomes more susceptible to infections, or becomes more likely to develop malignant tumors. Yesterday we talked about cancer. I hope you tied also some of the information here to what we talked about cancer, and some of what we talked about cancer can help us understand this. And you'll see that is almost the same thing. Okay? On the other hand, excessive immune responses may lead to allergic diseases or autoimmune diseases. For example, there is a theory that type 1 diabetes is not accepted by everybody. It's not accepted by the majority of the people in the health field, but there is some studies, scientific studies that say that type 1 diabetes could be caused by drinking of cow's milk, especially at very young ages, because cow's milk have a protein that is very similar to the protein that make the beta cells. The beta cells that make the insulin in the pancreas. So what happens is, because remember I told you non-self, the immune system attack non-self. So this protein from cow milk is non-self. It's not part of us. The immune system says, ooh, non-self, we attack. But if they start attacking that protein, that cow protein, or cow's milk protein, and once they are attacking that, because the beta cells look so similar to that protein, they attack also the beta cells, and up to the point where the person has not enough beta cells to produce enough insulin to maintain glucose homeostasis. So our immune system can even work against us if it goes way beyond the point of defense. And so that's why, on the other hand, excessive immune responses may lead to allergic diseases or autoimmune disease. Okay, I also have, I'm a patient of an autoimmune disease, ulcerative colitis. Okay, so my immune system started attacking my own body. Okay, and what we need to do is what? Bring that attack down. Try to, stop that excessive immune response. How do we do that? Later, I will tell you, if we have time, how I did it. Okay, but if we have time. Okay, so let's continue. One system. The immune system is only one system, but how many divisions? What does it say in there? Two. Okay, there are two divisions. Okay, the innate immunity, which is one of the divisions, and the adaptive immunity. Innate means that we are born with that one. Okay, we're born with that already working. When we are born and a non-self comes, our innate system will attack and defend us as babies. Okay, the adaptive immunity is not active when we're born. It starts activating as we encounter different microorganisms, like viruses and bacteria and things like that. Okay, so it develops as we encounter certain pathogens. Pathogens are germs that that stimulate the immune system. Okay, so pathogens that the innate system cannot control. So if my innate system cannot stop a virus and it continues to go deep into my body, into my system, then the adaptive immunity will attack that non-self or that virus. Okay, so and you can see how many cells we have in our body to defend us. You see the innate system has macrophages, natural killer cells, neutrophils, eosinophils, dendritic cells, basophils, natural killer cells, and T cells. The ones that do a lot of phagocytosis, remember from yesterday, I told you that there is one that does the most phagocytic activity, the one that eats more of these microorganisms. Which one is that, if you remember? Then you got it. Another A. Neutrophils. The neutrophils are very phagocytic, okay? And macrophages are also, and they are not mentioned in there. Okay, then the adaptive cells have the B cells and the T cells. You have heard of those too. The B cells produce the antibodies. The T cells, they attack, cell to cell. They attack and kill and destroy, okay? That's the only place where killing is good, okay? In our body when microorganisms enter and invade our body. Okay, the innate system, it is non-specific, it acts quickly, and it consists. Look what are some of the parts of the innate system. The skin. The skin is a barrier from the internal environment and the what? And the external environment. But once the skin is broken, what happens? Then that barrier is interrupted, okay? So the skin is part of the innate system. The secretions of the skin, we secrete in that sweat, and also not part of the sweat, we have immunoglobulins that we secrete. We secrete defensins. We secrete different chemicals that protect us. So the sweat has, in the skin, we have that to deter certain microorganisms that could enter, but that helps deterring them. Okay, the many types of cells that attack and destroy the invaders. You saw them in the illustration previous to this slide. Okay, the adaptive, it is specific. The adaptive system, immune system, goes for specific things. For example, they see one virus or one bacteria and they go and attack that one, and then they have a memory for the next time that we are attacked. If we have, for example, mumps, okay? You have mumps where you're little. The adaptive immune system, when it attacks that, it also maintains a memory. Many memory cells, they are called memory cells, that the second time we have that, trying to come in the body, the memory cells immediately attack and we don't get sick. That's called immunity, okay? And that is the adaptive immune system that does that. Okay, so let's go into the next one. Ministry of Healing. How many have that book at home? The Ministry of Healing, important. Have you read it? It is beautiful. And so I counsel everybody, I recommend, not counsel, but recommend everybody, please get Ministry of Healing and get also counsels on diet and foods. Those two books are precious, especially for this time. Not only for our health, but also for our what? For our intelligence, our mind, that we can have clear minds and we can understand false from truth. We can perceive the attacks of Satan and the help of Jesus, okay? So in Ministry of Healing, it says disease is an effort of nature, of our body, it's an effort of nature to free the system from conditions that result from what? What is disease a result of? Violation of the laws of health. It could be 1, it could be 2, it could be 3. Whatever law of health we're violating, it's always a result of a violation of the laws of health. So now people say, so you're saying that everybody that is sick is a sinner. That's not what we're saying. A violation of the law of health could be just not breathing, and that may be what? Maybe something that is involuntary, okay? A violation of the law of health could be that you're not eating enough food, and that could be because there is starvation in the area, there is no food in the area, whatever, but it is always a violation of the law of health, okay? In case of sickness, what do we need to do? The cause should be first what? Ascertained. Unhealthful conditions should be changed, and wrong habits corrected. There are 3 things that we need to do. Ascertain, what am I doing wrong? Or what is happening around me? What is, around me that is making me sick? And then changed the unhealthful condition and the wrong habits, okay? So keep that in mind as we continue to talk about, can we prevent COVID-19, okay? Risk factors for immunodeficiency. Immunodeficiency is the incapacity of our immune system to defend us to the optimal degree, okay? If our immune system is weak, that's immunodeficiency. But there are many risk factors, not only one. I've told you, it's not only nutrition, but that's number 1, okay? Nutrition, malnutrition. And malnutrition doesn't mean lack of food. Malnutrition could be overnutrition. Overnutrition is also a malnutrition, okay? So we can have energy nutrient deficiency. We can have a deficiency of energy or a deficiency of nutrients. And that could be because the wrong food that we're eating, or little food, or there is no food to eat. High intake of sugar, number 2. High intake of what? Sugar. And sugar is only one kind? Is sugar only one kind? Question. This is another question from yesterday. Is sugar only one kind? Is there only one? No, there is not. There is many, many different kinds of sugar. Can somebody tell me one name that is one sugar that is not sugar? Honey, what else? High fructose corn syrup. Syrup, any kind of syrup, huh? Agave, so all those are sugar, and there is many more, okay? So if we're using sugar in great amounts, we're told to use it in moderate amounts. And the American Heart Association is telling us that moderate amount is 6 teaspoons a day for a woman and 9 teaspoons a day for a man. Is that what we are eating? The world right now is over-consuming sugar. There are over 20 teaspoons of sugar eaten a day, and that's the average. So what I'm not eating, somebody else is eating, and they may be eating 35 or 40. In fact, sometimes when I do health talks, I ask, how many of these things you eat a day? And they select the things that they eat a day, and we add the teaspoons of sugar, it comes up to 30 or 40 sometimes. So, people are eating too much sugar, especially young people are eating too much sugar. High-fat diet, okay? Sometimes we think high-fat, okay, I don't eat animal food, so I'm not eating high-fat diet. But then we take the olive oil and we use it as a drink. Have you seen a doctor recommending a shot of olive oil every day for health because it's good monounsaturated fat? We need to use oils also in moderation, very much, okay? And we are going to see some articles about that. Highly processed food, a junk food diet, is loaded with fat, with sugar, and with a lot of artificial ingredients and other things that are not good for us. High stress level. And who can avoid stress? We can't. What we can do is manage stress intelligently. And with the help of the Lord, we can do it. And, we don't have time to talk about that important topic, stress. But I think we're going to mention a little bit more about it, okay, later. So stress hormones are released when we are under stress. And these stress hormones like cortisol, epinephrine, which an old name is adrenaline, that when we have too much of it, it really causes damage to our body, and it leads to disease. Sleep deprivation. Do you know anybody that goes to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning on a regular basis, or 12 o'clock at night on a regular basis? A lot of people go to sleep very late. I have people that I know that they cannot go to bed before 12 o'clock. They said, when they come to visit me sometimes and we are starting to get ready to go to bed, are you going to bed this early? It's like a strange thing. Are you going to bed this early? It's 9:30. It's not that early. It's good to go to bed this early, okay? So sleep deprivation reduces the natural. Remember, one of the cells that part of the innate immune system is the natural killer cells. They fight germs, okay? So the sleep deprivation reduces the natural killer cells, that fight germs. So we have less of them. It reduces the protective cytokines. Cytokines are signaling chemicals that many of our cells secrete, white cells, but also other cells like adipose cells, secrete when there is something that is wrong to cause inflammation. And that inflammation is good to a certain point. Like, for example, when you cut, let's say a finger, you cut a finger. What happens to the finger? It gets inflamed. There is redness, there is heat, there is swelling, and and that causes what? Pain. And so that is signs of inflammation. But that is good because it's healing that, and it's attacking the microorganisms that are entering through that cut. So that is good. But when we are in a state of low chronic inflammation, which is happening when we are eating wrong all the time, when we're sleeping bad, when we are eating bad, and all these things, then we have a state of chronic inflammation, and that reduces protective cytokines, exactly like sleep deprivation does. Reduces activity of lymphocytes. The lymphocytes are the B cells and the T cells, which are part of the adaptive immune system. Then sedentary lifestyle. Too much sitting. We are sitting right now, but that's okay. You can stay sitting, okay? Now, if you want, you can, when you are in a long lecture or something like that, feel free to stand up, go to the back, and, just move a little bit. Move those muscles, because those muscles increase the circulation and help your circulation be better, and that is good for us. So too much sitting puts the immune system to sleep. Just like we are resting in there, the immune system rests too. That's not good, okay? We need that, like soldiers defending a nation, they must always be what? Vigilant. And so our immune system needs to always be vigilant. The next one, excessive exercise, suppresses the immune system. So exercise is good. But have you seen people that have died because of too much exercise? Yes, there are some marathon runners that have died because of, a 20, 30 mile run. Okay, so yes, it's excessive exercise is probably as bad as not exercise or little exercise. So because one thing is good doesn't mean more is better. Huh? And we have one of the laws of health that is called temperance, okay, which is doing everything in moderation, and those things that are not beneficial, to abstain from them totally. Comorbidities. This is another factor that will lower our immune system. If we have obesity, if we have diabetes, if we have heart disease, lung disease, these are things that can put our body in a state of chronic inflammation, which also affects our immunity. Smoking and drinking alcohol, okay? Those, everybody knows about that. And we don't have a lot of time, so we are not going to talk about that. But the facts about it. In the past, they used to say it was good for us, just like now they are saying that marijuana is good for us. And they are using it to heal some diseases or some states of depression. Maybe if we last that long, in 20 years or 50 years from now, they will say it causes brain damage or it causes whatever. They already are saying some of that, but people don't believe it. Okay, in a journal, scientific journal called Nutrients, this article came in 2019, and it says diet and immune function. It says adequate and appropriate nutrition is what? Required for all cells to function optimally. And this includes the cells of the immune system. An activated immune system further increases the demand for energy during periods of infection. So if we are sick, our immune system is very what? Active, and all these cells are working. And for cells to work, what do they need? Energy. Okay, and that energy, they make it. The cell themselves, ATP. But we need to eat. We need to provide the food, but the right food, the right kind of food. And we'll see a little bit about that. Okay, so an activated immune system further increases the demand for energy during periods of infection, with greater basal energy expenditure during fever. For example, is COVID one of those things that sometimes people get fever? More need for what? Energy for the cells to do their job. Okay, so let's, where did I stop? Thus, optimal nutrition for the best immunological outcomes would be nutrition that supports the functions of immune cells, allowing them to initiate effective responses against pathogens. Remember what pathogens are? The germs that can produce diseases. Patho is disease, okay? The germs that can generate diseases. Let's say it that way. Pathogens. Gens come from generate. Okay. So that supports the function of the immune system, allowing them to initiate effective response against pathogens, but also to resolve the response rapidly when necessary and to avoid any underlying chronic inflammation. So what they are saying in here is that nutrition is very important for our immune system, in other words, and we need to have good nutrition. Okay, so there is a divine counsel here in Ministry of Healing. And I have one or two students here from a class that was one of my favorites. I taught different classes here, and one of them is called PMM, Principles of Medical Ministry. And in there, we covered basics about the spirit of prophecy, counsels on health, and here is one of those quotes that they have to memorize. I hope they still remember it. It says, grains, fruits, nuts, and what? And vegetable. How many groups of foods are in there? Grains, fruits, nuts, and vegetable. 4 groups. Doesn't say anything about milk and meat and any of that. Constitute the diet chosen for us by our Creator, the maker of these bodies. These foods prepare in a simple, it doesn't say fried and deep fried, and in a simple and natural a manner as possible, close to the natural, as close to the natural as possible. If we have, let's say, mashed potatoes in a box, this dry mix of mashed potatoes is that close to nature? Far from it, okay? It's as natural a manner as possible, are the most healthful and nourishing. They impart strength, a power of endurance. What? A power of endurance, okay? Resistance, that's what it means, resistance. A power of endurance and a vigor of intellect that are not afforded by a more complex and stimulating diet. Okay, let's continue with the other one. This is another article, and this is in a journal called Frontier Public Health. It was published in 2020, so this is fairly recent, August 2020. And the title is Importance of Dietary Changes During the Coronavirus Pandemic. How to upgrade your immune response. Let's see if they are in harmony with some of the principles of God that we have already mentioned, okay? So it says, the new coronavirus pandemic continues to spread, causing further public health, social, and economic issues. The disparities in the rates of death between countries possess questions about the importance of lifestyle habits and the immune status of population. Indeed, while both nutritional excess and deficiency, what did they say? Both nutritional what? Excess, overeating, or deficiencies are associated with immunodeficiency, adequate nutrition leading to an optimally functioning immune system may be associated with better outcomes with regards to preventing infection and complication of COVID-19. So again, they are saying that we could prevent it greatly. We have a better chance of preventing COVID-19 and the complications with better nutrition. That's what they are saying, okay? And it says, preventing infection, okay, as well as developing a better immune response to other pathogenic viruses and microorganisms. This article outlines the key. This article outlines the key functions of the immune system and how macronutrients and micronutrients in metabolites from the gut microbiome can be essential in the development of an efficient immune system. So the nutrients and the microbiota, how many of you have heard the microbiota? That's something that everybody's talking about. So it's very difficult for somebody not to have heard about the microbiota or microbiome. So the nutrients, macronutrients as well as the micronutrients and the microbiome need to be in need to be good in order for us to have a good chance of preventing the disease or not getting the complications, just going through this disease quickly and with not many complications. It says, an optimal nutrition state has been found to be essential for a well-functioning immune system and for the protection against viral infection. Furthermore, malnutrition and/or an unbalanced diet represent an important cause of immunodeficiency worldwide. In this context, the deficiencies in essential nutrients are associated with an impairment of cell-mediated immunity. What are some of the essential nutrients? Well, the nutrients that we need to get from the food that we are eating. Do we need carbohydrates? Yes, those are essential for energy. Do we need proteins? Yes, it is essential. Not as much as people think we need, but it is an essential nutrient. It's a macronutrient. Do we need some fats? There are 2 fatty acids that are essential. The others are not. The 2 fatty acids that are essential are omega-3 alpha-linolenic and omega-6 linoleic. The others we don't need. The body can make all the other fats, like monounsaturated fats in olive oil that you're supposed to drink a shot every day. We can make that, okay? So, and how about minerals and vitamins? The B vitamins are essential. We need to provide them in the diet. Vitamin C, essential. Cats make their own, but we don't, so we need to provide it in the diet. Vitamin D, well, we don't have to provide it in the diet, but we need to expose our skin to what? To the ultraviolet light. And iron, selenium, zinc, all these are essential nutrients. We need to provide them in the diet. And if our diet is made of highly processed food, are we going to get those nutrients? No, very little of them. If we are just getting a lot of high sugar items, a lot of fried foods, a lot of McDonald's or Taco Bell, or these foods that are highly processed, they lose a lot of these minerals and they lose a lot of these vitamins during the process. And they lose a lot of phytochemicals and things that we need to protect ourselves. So moreover, deficiency in micronutrients such as vitamins, minerals, and polyphenols have been shown to have profound consequences for immune system functioning and susceptibility to infection. And it says, okay, carotenoids. Where can we find carotenoids? Carrots. Carrots have beta-carotene, among others. And, yellow, green, orange, these colored fruits and vegetables have a lot of different carotenoids, okay? And these carotenoids are important. Vitamins, B vitamins, C, D, A, K, E, all these vitamins are important for us. We need them in order to maintain good health. Selenium, a mineral, zinc, another mineral, very important, especially for the immune system. Now people say, oh, if that's important, now I'm going to get a supplement. I said something yesterday about supplements, remember? We should try the best to get these nutrients from what? From the food, because the supplement that has zinc in it or supplement in it is just that, but it doesn't have all the other things that the Lord put in the package. And all these things together work in synergism. They work together, and each one help each other, and the total of the benefits come when they are together. And we don't know exactly what is it. Science, the science of nutrition is a young science. And I don't think we have all we need to understand the creation of God. We will be studying this for what? Eternity. And can you imagine that in 50, 60, 70 years we are going to understand nutrition? No. We will be studying nature for eternity. But we are not going to have too many dangers because we are going to obey all the laws of health, and our environment is going to be perfect, okay? And the food is going to be perfect too, okay? So it says, carotenoids, vitamins, selenium, zinc, polyphenols, as well as many other nutrients have been shown to modulate the immune system. Furthermore, dietary manipulation of these micronutrients have been shown to alter immune function. Nutritional excess of carbohydrate. Listen to this, and you tell me if there is something wrong in this sentence, okay? Listen. Nutritional excess of carbohydrates, saturated fats, coupled with physical inactivity leading to obesity can also deregulate the immune system of the host, thereby increasing susceptibility to infection. Do you get something wrong in there? Do you see something wrong that could be malinterpreted? It says nutritional excess of what? The first one, carbohydrates. That is true, but it's not true. Explain, Mrs. Hernandez. Okay, I'm going to explain. We need carbohydrates. They are essential. Which ones? Okay, carbohydrates is two kinds. We have the complex carbohydrates, and we have the simple carbohydrates. Complex carbohydrates are the carbohydrates that are found in grains, for example. Legumes have complex carbohydrates. Wheat, rice, oat, all those have complex carbohydrates. And there are two types of complex carbohydrates. The fiber is one of them, and the starches is another one. But in the grains or in the foods, they have these carbohydrates, plus they also have some simple, because there is glucose in there. And also, we have nutrients like minerals and vitamins and all that other stuff. But what happens when we take the sugar out of the apple, or the sugar out of the beets, or the sugar out of the dates? What do we have now? Only the simple carbohydrates, only sugar. Sugar is a simple carbohydrate. And in there, I'm hoping that they are talking about the excess of what? Simple carbohydrates, okay? Or starches that don't have anything else. For example, rice. Rice have starches, huh? Yes. Rice also have B vitamins. Rice also have iron, selenium, fiber, protein, a lot of things. But when they take that rice, that brown grain, and they mill it, and they make it beautifully white, what happens to it? In the bran, and right under the bran, we're losing a lot of what? Of all those nutrients that are essential for us to have good health. And we are only left in there with a lot of starch and a few, maybe a little bit of protein, and that's it. So that is only the starch in there is too much when we're eating a lot of things that are refined, and we're having too much starch. Okay, so I hope that's what they are talking about. But I hope they are not talking about not the low-carb diet, because the low-carb diet is saying that we should not eat even the good grains. Okay, so please remember that. Nutritional excess of, let's say, simple carbohydrates or refined foods, saturated fats, coupled with physical inactivity leading to obesity, can also deregulate the immune system of the host, thereby increasing susceptibility to infection. And unfortunately, the quarantine, listen, this is important too. Remember those many months where people were supposed to stay in the home and not get out of there because we were quarantined? Listen to this. Unfortunately, the quarantine and self-isolation of many individuals during the current pandemic promotes this unhealthy behavior. How? But first, let's remember this. Grains, fruits, nuts, and vegetables constitute the diet chosen for us by our Creator. These foods, prepared in as simple and natural manner as possible, are the most healthful nourishing. They impart a strength, a power of endurance, and a vigor of intellect that are not afforded by a more complex and stimulating diet. Okay, now let's continue with that thought about quarantine and isolation. It says, the conditions of lockdown tend to promote what? Poor dietary habit, a decline in exercise, an increase in comfort eating that promotes the weight gain that many have experienced during this time. And with gained weight, we increase inflammation. And inflammation puts us in a state of what? Risk. Because it lowers the immune system, the immunity. It gives us immunodeficiency. Okay? And people, when they are stressed, what do they tend to go and eat? That comfort, quote unquote, comfort food. Like what? Mention one. Ice cream. What else? Potato chips? Okay. How about, what else? What? Pizza. What else? Hamburger. And how about cake and apple pie with ice cream on top? Comfort food. Okay? Oh, I'm so depressed here. Comfort food. Let's just go for healthy food, not comfort food, okay? It says a disrupted eating schedule and frequent snacking. What are we told about snacking? What are we told about between meals? Do not let one morsel pass your lips between meals. But the world is saying, oh, we need snack. In fact, if you go to dietitians and nutritionists, they tell you that you need to have 2 snacks at least. 3 meals is not enough. You need to have a mid-morning snack, and you need to have a mid-afternoon snack. Well, the Creator didn't say that. The Creator said, not even a bite of food pass your lips between meals. Do we obey that? Trust in the Lord, and you will get all the benefits of that trust, okay? We will see something better here. Okay, a delayed immune response and an increased inflammation can occur as a consequence of a diet high in saturated fat. You know, they have, I saw some doctor the other day talking, and he was on YouTube video, and he was saying that the majority of the people that have had the COVID-19 have been overweight or mostly obese. A state of what? Chronic inflammation and an immunodeficiency because of this. Not everybody, but majority of the people is because of overeating. And overeating what? Highly processed food. We are adapting ourselves. We are accustoming getting accustomed, is that correct? Okay, thank you, to the bad habits of this world, okay? And the bad habits of this world is McDonald's, Pizza Hut, Taco Bell, Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks, okay, all these things that are highly processed articles. I would not even call them food because they are not food, they're junk. There's a lot of junk. No more nutrients in those things anymore. And if they still have some nutrients, the amount of fat or salt or sugar in them makes them not good for us. So this will be accompanied by a reduction in T cells. Remember, the T cells are the adaptive system cells, and promotion of inflammation if levels of minerals and vitamins are insufficient. And they will be insufficient if we are eating junk food all day long. Okay? Finally, poor dietary habits change the gut microbiota, causing the leaky gut. Have you heard of the leaky gut? Leaky gut syndrome is because the microbiota, the good microbes in there, they maintain the lining of the large intestine tight. and the cells tight, and the lining in good health. And what happens is, as we eat a diet that have no fiber, what happens to this good bacteria? They start diminishing in amount. And what happens with the pathogens, the bacteria that cause disease? They start increasing. And then they start eating or damaging the lining and increasing the gap between the cells that cause a barrier from the internal, the lumen of the large intestine and the blood. And so things that should not cross that barrier start going in, and our body start, getting more inflammation because the body starts attacking all these non-cells that are invading the body, the leaky gut. What's causing all that? Bad food. We're eating the wrong things. The Lord told us fruits, nuts, grains, and vegetables in the most natural and simple form as possible. And what are we doing? We said, oh, but that's boring. Doesn't taste good. I went through a 7-month period of awful ulcerative colitis flare. I lost 20 pounds. I was 20 pounds less than what I am now. So what happened? Then I was put in this diet that I said, Lord, this was an answer from you, because I met this person and put me in this diet. Not any doctor will do this, okay? This diet was rice and potatoes, green beans, peas, and carrots and something else. Okay, it was about 10 or 12 things that I could eat, and all prepared as simple as possible. Nothing but salt I could add. Nothing. No garlic, no onions, nothing. Why? Because I had to eliminate a lot of things to start adding little by little and see what was causing the problem. You know how long it took me? About 9 months to finally get everything that I could eat. So I kept losing a little bit more, but improving, and less of my attack, less of my flare. And then when the first 3 weeks, I was crying at the table, seeing my husband eating the other good stuff that we eat. And I was eating here just the same thing, day after day, until I started crying. I said, this is awful, I would like to have a little bit of that oatmeal, a little bit of that, and other stuff that I loved. Oh, some of that banana, I want that banana, but I couldn't. What happened? About 5 weeks later, I started tasting this rice. Tastes good. And it was the same rice that I was eating. But my taste buds were what? Since they were getting the sensitivity that they didn't have. They were starting to, taste what the Lord put in there that was good for me and that I could not taste because I was used to all these other things. So I started recuperating my taste buds, my normal taste buds, and I started enjoying that. But as I added things, when the first time I had corn on the cob, oh my goodness, it was like having caramel. It was like having a candy. And the first day I had my first banana, it was already about 8 months later, because the fruits were one of the last things. When I had that first banana, it was better than chocolate bar. And believe me, it's true. Okay? It was better than a chocolate bar. And I'm telling you, because I was an addict to chocolate many years ago. And I never had a desire for a chocolate bar like I have now for a banana. And I said to my husband, I thought my favorite fruit was mango. It's a banana. Banana is delicious, believe me. But that's because my taste buds are different now, okay? So look at this. Poor dietary habits during the COVID-19 isolation or quarantine. Look what they have in here. This is scientists, okay, doing this. And they are saying decline in exercise and increase in comfort eating. What is the result? Look at the gain weight. Okay, disrupted eating schedule and snacking. A lot of snacking. You're decreasing the T cells. You're decreasing the natural killer cells. And diet high in saturated fats. You are delaying the immune system response because this fat is doing that to the system. Increased inflammation. Okay, then you have diet high in sugar. Reduce activity of the neutrophils. Remember the neutrophils, the phagocytes that kill non-cells and microorganisms that are invading the body? They start decreasing in number, and they do not, well, they don't really decrease in number. What they do is they become inactive for about 5 hours. Remember that? Sugar make these white blood cells, these phagocytes, lazy. It's like they are drunk or something. They cannot work. And so you are without this action, without this protection and activity for many hours. And let's say that you have an ice cream cone. And it lasts, let's say, the major portion of it lasts 2 hours with the phagocytes, not doing much. But 5 hours as they recuperate completely. But less than 2 hours later, you have the chocolate bar. That's 2 more hours later. And then later, maybe you are thirsty, and instead of going for the liquid that the Creator made to satiate thirst, we go for Coca-Cola. Another 2 hours. And so, of course, the whole day we're without protection. And what are we going to do? Get the COVID-19, okay? Okay, so we don't have a lot of time for that one. Okay, important diet, we are still in that article, and it says, conclusion. This is the conclusion. Finally, we're getting through it, okay? We're going to something else. Conclusion, nutrition and diet are able to promote the functioning of the immune system as a preventive measure by reducing both inflammation and oxidative stress that might be caused by various factors. So nutrition and diet. Nutrition in a good diet, because a good diet gives you the nutrition, they will reduce inflammation and oxidative stress. And remember, oxidative stress is what also increases your risk of what? Cancer, okay, beside other diseases. Okay, so deficiencies in some micronutrients. The micronutrients are the vitamins and the minerals, okay? Because we need them in small, micro amounts, in small amounts. Deficiencies in some micronutrients can increase in what? Inflammation and the risk of infection. Several of the micronutrients discussed in this review can interact with transcription factors that regulate the expression of receptors used by viruses, such as ACE. And in addition, nutrition and diets modulate the gut microbiota, which can affect gut permeability and inflammatory status. Therefore, it is essential that probiotics and necessary nutrients such as vitamins which affect the immune system are not neglected before and during infection. Okay, so in here they are saying, just like scientists, they are talking, it says that we need probiotics and vitamins and minerals, and they are talking about supplements. Do we need probiotics? Well, I have read some articles saying that taking probiotics, which is live bacteria in a capsule or something, is really not that effective. They don't last long because they are not part of you. So they do not really last long. You have to take them for life if you want that to be your protection. What you need to eat is not probiotic. It's eat food that are in the most natural condition as possible, with all the nutrients, especially with all the fiber. Why? Fiber is the food for the good microbiota, the good bacteria. What they eat is they ferment that fiber, and that's what makes them happy. Okay, and healthy, and they multiply. And then you have a gut microbiota that is protective. But if you are eating junk food, what you are going to have is a gut microbiota that is destroying your health because of the leaky gut and all these other things that it will happen. So don't go for supplements. Go for whole foods, plant food, and do not fry them, do not overcook them, do not, put a lot of oil in them, do not cover them with salt and sugar and all that. Use all these things in moderation. If you still want to use a little bit of oil, you know, since I got better, which it was about 2 years ago, before that, I have bought, recently before I had my flare, I have bought a jar of olive oil about this big. It's about 16 ounces in there. It's about 16 ounces. It's about this big. And, you know, it's virgin oil that we think is so good for us, and it also tastes good in the salad. So, but what happened, I remember I stopped eating because I stopped eating a lot of things. You know how, I still have that jar. I still have that, and it's about maybe halfway down, almost about the same as it was when I stopped eating everything, just maybe a little bit less. Because if I have used it maybe 3 or 4 times, it's like 1 teaspoon that I put like in spaghetti or something like that I make once in a while so that they don't stick together, but that's it. So yes, sometimes we can use these things, but use them in what? In moderation. Instead of that, use avocado. Instead of that, use olives. Instead of that, use some nuts. You can make the best dressings with nuts. Sunflower seeds, which are very inexpensive, and they have a lot of selenium and zinc and all that good stuff that we need, iron, protein. So all these nutrients are in those inexpensive, seeds. How to support your immune system with a plant-based diet? This is forks and knife. You can't always control whether you get sick, and that is true. I got the COVID about what? 2-3 months ago. You know how long it lasted? About 4 days. And what did I feel? I feel like I had the flu. But in order to make sure, because they didn't let me go back to work, I had to go and test. And they said, yes, you're positive. But it just was. And no fever, no problem with my chest. You know, maybe because I was in this strict diet, it strengthened my system. Or maybe I just have a little better genetics than other people. I'm not saying, that we can get the COVID, but we can go through it without a lot of complications or without dying. If we strengthen our immune system by following the Lord's counsel, the Lord is good. Test and see that he is good. Taste and see that he is good. Okay? So, how to support your immune system with a plant-based diet? Why diet is so important to supporting the immune system? An outstanding 70 to 80% of your immune system resides in your gut, in your intestine. The immune system is separated from 39 trillion microbes in your gut microbiome by a single layer of cells, a fraction the width of a strand of hair. The two are in constant communication. A strong microbiome empowers the neighboring immune cells for optimal function. We talked about this already. I explained that to you already. This is just saying it in more elegant words. But what I told you about the immune system and the microbiota, they work together. And one way is that the good bacteria maintain the barrier intact. And so it allows us to, all these molecules that are the result of the eating that we do and that enter the large intestine should not be absorbed into the blood. But if the wall of the large intestine, is leaky because the microbiota is more pathogenic, and they cause an enlargement of they make the junction of the cells less tight, and they separate. There is a bigger gap, and proteins go in there. Those proteins are going to activate the immune system, and the immune system is going to start inflammation. And that's what they are saying in here. We need to have a healthy microbiota, and a healthy microbiota, we can only have it by eating well, the right food, whole food, plant-based diet in a simple and natural manner as possible, exercising, going to bed early, drinking water, and doing all this good stuff that the Lord is telling us to do. Why do you still get sick? Even if you eat a healthy diet, eating a whole food, plant-based diet does not make you what? bulletproof, okay? By combining a diverse plant-based diet with, and here it goes, it's not just the what? It's not just the diet. We need to combine it with what? With plentiful sleep, regular exercise, stress management, social connection. Don't be alone. Don't stay alone in your home. Have friends, go out, go to work, go help people. When we are only thinking about me, myself, and I, we can get sick. Selfishness makes us sick. Because we are in a state of emotional state that damages our immune system, damages the microbiota and all that. Okay? It says, these healthy lifestyle practices can also lessen the intensity and duration of your symptoms when you do catch a bug. So yes, we are not Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. So we can get sick because our immune system is not perfect. And there are bugs out there that are getting stronger and stronger. Satan knows what he's doing. He's trying to destroy. He hates us, especially the people of God. He hates them. And so he wants to eliminate us because he is envious, What are we going to do? Replace him, huh? And what are we going to have? Eternal life. If we are faithful to the end, we will have all that. And he doesn't want you and I to have that. So he has a plan. He wants to destroy us. He wants to destroy us to the point where we are weak spiritually. And what can he do to make us weak spiritually? The same thing he has done for ages. You can eat this and you won't die. Isn't that what he told Adam and Eve? He said that to Eve first. Oh, Sarai, you won't die. Eat it. You will be smart, like God. And that's what we think ourselves sometimes we are. We think we're smarter than God, but we're not. Doctors, I put it in there because I like that. Doctors, this is a PCRM, the Physicians for Committee for Responsible Medicine. The doctors, and they went to the National Mall to ask government for beans, not beef, for health of planet and people. Because, they are saying that for the health of the planet, we need to stop, even probably one day a week, they started to say something like that, or have electric cars and stuff like that. They said just beans, and stop the beef industry, because that is also, damaging the environment and everything. A report that was published in Lancet 2009. Okay. 19. Things to do to lower risk of COVID-19. Eliminate added sugars. Okay, let's and quickly go over this. This is like a summary. Things to do to lower the risk of COVID-19. Number 1, eliminate what? Added sugars. We have sugars in apple. We have sugars in mango, in watermelon. We have sugar even in corn. We have sugar in a lot of things. Some people say, but we need sugar because glucose is needed for energy. We have sugar from, even the rice, because the rice is made of complex carbohydrates which are long chains of glucose. And the body breaks the chain into just glucose, and the glucose goes into the blood, and that's sugar. So we don't really need the white sugar. We don't need the honey. We don't need the agave. We don't need all that. We need the food that the Lord made for you and I. And that is nuts. That's grains, fruits, nuts, and vegetables in the most simple and natural form. Reduce or eliminate free oils. Stop eating highly processed foods. Stop eating animal products. They are high in saturated fats. Maintain a healthy weight. And if you eat that way and exercise, you will maintain a healthy weight. Drink plenty of water, not Coca-Cola, not orange juice, not even if it is fortified with calcium and vitamin D or vitamin C. Just have the orange. Okay. Drink plenty of water. Go to bed early, and early is not 12 o'clock. Early is not 1 o'clock. Early is at least before 10, or no later than 10. Why? Because our body have to do a lot of things that it have to do it during that time. And if we are up at 12 o'clock or at 1 o'clock, our body will not be able to do those functions and do the repairing and all the things that they have to do so that the next day we're healthy and strong and alive. Go to bed early. Expose your skin to sunlight. We know we need it. Not too much, but not too little. Temperance. More things to do. And this is hydrotherapy. Okay? You can do hot and cold treatments. You can do fermentation. One of the things that I did, and my husband and I even made a little video and put it in YouTube, hot and cold showers. You feel like you're getting something, do gargles. Gargles with a little bit of salt, or just cold water until it gets warm in there. Gargle it, and then spit it out. And take hot and cold showers. 3 minutes hot as you can. 30 seconds cold as you can. And do it 3-4 times, and then do that 2 times a day or 3 times a day. Even wake up in the night if you feel bad, and do another one. We did that. And we went over this thing, and we came out triumphant, okay, with the help of the Lord counsel, okay. So hot and cold, do contrast showers and fermentation. More things to do to prevent COVID-19. Learn to manage stress. It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Interesting. This was a wise man, Epictetus, is how you say it in Spanish, in English? Epictetus, we say it in Spanish. He said this: it is not what happens to you, but how you react to it. Let's say that I failed a class. I was taking a class and I failed this class, and the end of the world. I remember a person writing something about this guy that failed the class, and he tried to commit suicide because he said, failed the class. Now I have to take this class again. Now I have to stay behind. Now I have to pay a lot of money. Now and then I will lose my friends. I will lose my girlfriend. I have to hide. I will never be able to overcome this. I will be, what do you call it? A nobody in life. I will not get a job ever. I will be a bum. I will be homeless. Poop! He tried to commit suicide. It is not what happens to you, but how you react and what you think about what happened to you. That's what matters. Something wrong happened. Okay, Lord, help me go through it, and give me confidence that I will, go through it well, and I will do, with your help, everything I have in my power to do to better this situation. We can go through it. Bad things happen. We can go through them. Yes, during that time seems awful, but we have to think we will get through it. So learn to manage stress, okay? In the Ministry of Healing, again, disease is an effort of nature to free the system from conditions that result from a violation of the laws of health. In case of sickness, the cause should be ascertained, unhealthful conditions should be changed, and wrong habits need to be what? Corrected. And the last thing, a summary. Very simple. Everything that we said in one slide. Disease prevention program. 1, adopt a plant-based diet, at least 9 servings of colorful fruits and vegetables. 2, eat more fiber, more legumes, whole grains, veggies, and fruits. 3, reduce free oils, eliminate or limit animal foods. 4, reduce added sugars and highly processed foods. 5, avoid nitrite. Remember nitrites from yesterday's talk? Nitrites are this preservative that they put in, especially red meat and stuff like that. Avoid nitrites, acrylamide, and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. Stop smoking, eliminate alcohol. Avoid smoked and pickled foods. A lot of people like that, huh? Pickled food and smoked food. Avoid them. Ensure adequate intake of essential fatty acids. What are the 2 essential fatty acids? Alpha-linolenic and linoleic. Okay, those are the two that we need to have it in the diet. Where can we get the linoleic? Chia seed, flax seeds, soybeans, even walnuts and stuff like that have them, you know. A lot of things have them. But the greater sources are flax seeds, chia seeds, hemp seeds, all that. Exercise 1 hour every day. Oh, by the way, the linoleic, which is the other one, the linoleic fatty acid, that's everywhere. So you don't have to look for it. The one that you have to make sure that you're getting is the alpha-linolenic, the omega-3 alpha-linolenic, because that one is not everywhere, okay? But the linoleic is everywhere, so much that people are eating too much of it, especially if they are eating oils, okay? And that causes inflammation. So we need to reduce the oils and the processed food because it's too high in linoleic, and that can cause inflammation. Now, exercise at least 1 hour every day, less sitting. So if you're sitting for an hour, we're finishing almost, okay? And go and take a little walk if you have to come back and sit. Go take a little walk or do something. Or at least, you know, walk on place or, you know, jog or do whatever, but do something. Move your muscles. Less sitting. Stand up every hour and move. Even if you're in an office. I work in an office, and I sometimes have to sit for an hour or so. 1 hour has been. Okay, I get up, and I do some of these, go to the bathroom, drink some water, do a little bit more, and sit down again, and continue. But we need to move, because we need to increase that circulation. They said that when we are sitting for more than an hour, our energy burning system, you know, drops greatly. And so a lot of other things happen too. Maintain a healthy weight and go to bed early. My son, this is the Lord talking to us today, right now. My son, give attention to my words, my counsels, my recommendations. For they are what? Life, health to those who find them, health to all their flesh. May the Lord be with us and help us do this. Help us follow his counsel. Trust him. Trust him with all your heart, because he's not going to ask you to do something that is bad for you. Everything that he's asking us is for our benefit. Leaving that sugar is not going to be bad for you. Leaving that meat or that fried food is not bad for you. That's the best thing that you can do. I can testify to that because my last 2 years of life have been the best, because I am trying to follow that the best I can. And the Lord is blessing us with energy, with strength. I mean, we're getting old. But to get old doesn't mean to be sick. To be old, we can be old and die just in our sleep one day, or in an accident, if a car accident, or sometimes we cannot avoid that. But we don't have to be sick with diabetes and high blood cholesterol and high blood pressure and all that. That is because of factors that we're not, maybe sometimes are not voluntarily, but some things that we should not experience, okay? And so may the Lord help us, and may the Lord help us to trust him and to, you know, walk with him all the way like Enoch did. I don't know, but I think we should just do a little bit of prayer before we finish. Can we go on our knees and pray? Dear Father in heaven, thank you, Lord, so much for this light that you have given us, especially for these last days that we are living. I pray, Lord, that you forgive our incredulity, that you forgive our doubts, that you strengthen our faith with your Holy Spirit. We want to obey, but we don't have the strength, so please help us. Help us be strong. Help us be faithful. Help us obey. Because if we obey, we know that we're going to have your blessing, that you will be with us, And that will be a wall around us that the enemy cannot pass. I pray, Lord, that you help us obey all the laws that you have given us. Laws that are principles and laws that are just a gift of love for us. And I pray that you help us love your principles and love what you love. We pray in the name of Jesus. Amen.
A lot of good information, right? May the Lord help us to put it all into practice, daily practice. If you're interested in receiving correspondence from Hartland Institute, please join our mailing list and fill out the interest cards on the table in the back of the room and place them in the box there in the corner. And if you would like to settle your reservation account or make any adjustments before Sabbath, visit the registration booth. And the exhibit booths are now open. Please visit them, and our next meeting is at 6:45. So you have some free time. Make sure you walk around, get some exercise in, get some sunlight, and we'll see you this evening. Blessings.